What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at my Jeep and we're going to tell you guys all about what's done to it. So I'm constantly getting questions about what lifts on my Jeep, what bumpers are on my Jeep, what tire sizes on my Jeep. So I figure I'll just make this video and we'll walk around it and I'll tell you guys everything about it, everything I've done to it, and get the whole rundown. So let's get out here and we'll take a look at it. Alright guys, so this is my 93 Jeep Grand Cherokee ZJ, and like I said, everybody's always asking questions about what's done to it and you know all that, so I figure I'll go around and show you guys everything. So first question I get most often is what bumpers are on my Jeep. So this front bumper is the trail ready winch bumper with the added I guess you call that a brush guard. So this bumper is bigger than what I would typically want. Sticks out a little further from the side, but it actually doesn't get hung up near as much as I thought it would. I got a killer deal on this bumper and decided to just run it. So it does good at protecting the front end and gives me a nice mounting point for my winch, which is a Smitty built 12,000 pound X2O with the synthetic line, the cordless remote and all that. So I've used that thing quite a few times and it does great. So there's that. Got the aux beam, amber, yellow, whatever you want to call those, fog lights down there in the bumper. And then the rear bumper is a rock hard 4x4 tire carrier bumper, and I really like this bumper. It doesn't hang real far down and it is super sturdy. I think it's 100% 3/16 material, and I've smacked that thing on some trees and stuff and it doesn't even flinch. So it's got a full trailer hub style bearing for the pivot and a locking pin, so that if you're on a little bit of a hill, it ain't gonna try to be closing or falling open on you all the time. It's got a built-in hitch, and whenever it's closed, the arm actually sits on this I think it's like Delrin or ABS or something, little plastic block there, and whenever you want to close it, just come over here. Sorry, trying to do this while we're filming. Pull the pin and it'll swing in. It's got a little double acting, kind of like a car door latch there, and a little handle you just lift up. So they say it'll fit up to I think a 38-inch tire, and I would believe it. I mean, it fits pretty good. It's adjustable up and down. I have it on the lowest setting because I don't want my tire sticking way up above my roof. But the 35 fits on there nice. So that takes me to my next thing. Tires. I've got Mickey Thompson Deegan 38 tires on this, and they are 35 1250s on a 15x8 wheel, which if you guys follow me on social media or anything, you'd know that I have old school aluminum wheels on everything. So these are some 90s KMC wheels. They're a 15x8 with a 3 3/4 inch backspace. So that's the next question I get all the time, and they get just a little bit of poke, which is nice. Don't stick out too far that I'm throwing dirt and stuff all over the place. And I really like these tires so far. I've probably put, I don't know, somewhere between 25 and 30,000 miles on these things, and they're still still super nice. I mean, probably at least 3/4 tread, which is awesome. So the suspension on the Jeep is the Iron Rock Off-Road 5.5 inch lift, and it's the long arms in the front and the adjustable short arms in the rear, which this is the older setup because I lifted this Jeep about 7 years ago now, and back then they had the radius arm style lift on the front. See if we can see it under here. So it's got a radius arm instead of a 3-link like the newer ones. We just put the 3-link style, newer style, on my dad's Jeep, and it's pretty nice. We used basically the newer version of the same lift that's on mine. So his has an actual 3-link front suspension. Let's see if we can see it under here. I don't know if we'll be able to since it's so dark in here, but anyways, we just got that on his Jeep, and working on finishing it up, and it'll be out on the trails here soon. You guys will see that video here real shortly, getting his Jeep lifted. But obviously you see it's got a different hood and fender on it. Back after I first lifted it, I took it out to Disney and hadn't got rid of the ABS yet, and went to go down a rocky incline, and the ABS decided to kick on, and it kind of shuddered and knocked the rocks loose, and I slid right down into a tree. So the kind of messed up the core support up here, obviously knocked out the lights, and had to replace the hood and fender. So it's got a 5.9 hood on it now. It's got the little vents in it. Got a little damage here on the corner, but be all right. It's no show vehicle. But yeah, so it's a 5.5 inch lift, long arms in the front, short arms in the rear. If I was going to do it again, I would go ahead and do long arms in the back, which eventually I plan on doing anyways, because if you get this thing fairly flexed up off-road, it'll what I call flex steer. So with those short arms, you know, you push one tire way up and one drops down, and it tries to steer one way or the other on you just because of how short the arms are. So if you're in something real technical, that can sometimes be a problem. So if I was to do it again, I'd definitely just start with the short arms or the long arms in the rear and go from there. But I'm trying to think what else there is to tell you guys about this thing. I guess I'll go ahead and go a little bit more in detail. Whenever I lifted it, I went ahead and swapped to the high pinion Dana 30 in the front. So it's got the high pinion, it's got a Spartan locker in there, which I love. The Spartan locker, it does great. I've got the Iron Rock Off-Road 5/8 inch Heims steering on it. Obviously not the best option. If I had the money to go with from the beginning, I would have done the WJ knuckle swap, which eventually I'm trying to decide right now if I want to leave these axles in it and go ahead and do the WJ swap, or if I want to just swap some JK axles into this thing and have some stronger axles that already have the separate steering attachment points. But it's got the Dana 44 rear. Originally it had the Dana 35, and I broke that axle 3 times. Well, I broke it 4 times, and the last time it totally grenaded the carrier and messed up my Spartan locker in that rear end, and I just said screw it. And same Jeep that I pulled the hood off of, this 5.9 hood off of, I pulled the 44 out of the rear of it and stuck it under my Jeep. So now it's got a 44 Spartan locker, and I haven't had any problems yet. A lot of people talk about how they have problems with that aluminum center section that comes in these, but haven't had any problems yet. So probably truss it here before long. I do have a skid plate underneath it, just to make sure that aluminum center section doesn't get banged up on rocks and stuff, because they damage pretty easy. Got Bilstein shocks under there, factory skid plate under the gas tank. Has held up just fine so far. Haven't seen a need to replace it. I guess I haven't smacked it on a rock hard enough, but it's definitely seen some scrapes on some rocks, so holding up good so far. Haven't seen a need to upgrade it, but I swapped the 231 transfer case into it as well back whenever I was first lifting this Jeep, and love that swap. Of course, this being a 93, and it's a first half of 93, so it still has the AW4 like a XJ. So the 231 out of a 92 XJ swapped right into it. I didn't have to swap the input shaft or anything. So yeah, I can't think of anything else to tell you guys about it off the top of my head. If anybody has any questions, definitely put them in a comment below and I'll address them in a future video. But a lot of people will tell you can't fit 35s on a 5.5-inch lift. This one fits them just fine. It does have a little bit of rubbing up front. If you're steering real sharp and flex it up a little bit, it rubs right down there, which once I get around to cutting these rocker panels out and putting the tube in, this will get trimmed anyways. I've flattened all the pinch joint here. I've banged that down with a hammer where it sits flat. Did some cutting up here, took out some parts or some sheet metal. Obviously angled that bottom of the fender down there. Every now and then it'll catch right here, but get it flexed around and I'm sure it would catch with smaller tires too, but it does good. I will say, since I put the 35s on here, that I don't, as capable as this Jeep is, whenever I'm just out exploring and stuff, I hardly ever have to unhook the sway bars, or sway bar I should say. The front one's the only one that's on here, but hardly ever unhook it. If I do unhook the sway bar, it rubs quite a bit more, but still nothing that's going to keep me from, you know, going where I need to go. So it gets around great. I have hardly any complaints about this Jeep and how it functions, other than, like I said, the flex steer on the rear kind of drives me nuts every now and then, because it'll kind of point the rear of the Jeep in a direction where I don't really want it, but long arms will solve that issue. One other thing I'll go ahead and tell you guys about, I get this question quite a bit, is how did I mount my rooftop tent? Don't mind the rust up there on the roof. I got to pull all this off and shoot a coat of paint over it, but I actually took what I call seat track, because it's like what they use for seats on an airplane, but it's the technical name is L-track, and got rid of the factory roof bars and used the factory riv nuts and put this L-track down on the roof, and then I used the low profile unistrut as a crossbar to mount the tent on. And this keeps the tent nice and low. I've only got well, you can see that, probably, I don't know, 3 inches or so between the tent and the roof. I'd like for it to sit even a little lower, but this does the job. A lot lower than a lot of people mount theirs. I can't stand seeing people go around mounting like up on top of a factory rack where the bottom of the tent's like 6-8 inches up above the roof. That just creates a whole bunch of extra wind drag and wind noise and all that. So, but yeah, that's how I mounted that. And my tent is a Tepui Autana 3. It's the ruggedized version, so it's got the thicker canvas and it's got the kind of corrugated aluminum bottoms and stuff. Supposed to be a lot tougher than the non-ruggedized version, but love that thing. It used to be a crap talker on rooftop tents, and got this one, and all I gotta say is I'm eating my words now, because I'll probably never do without one again. Obviously don't use it on all occasions, but man, whenever it is one of those occasions where you use it, it sure is nice. But yeah, so that is my 93 Jeep Grand Cherokee. And like I said, if you guys have any more questions, just let me know and I will get those answered for you guys. Either just reply to your comment or may throw it into another video. So nothing crazy on my Jeep, but it is more than capable for what I use it for. And honestly, it does way more than what I need it to. So I've had it in some pretty sketchy situations where the Jeep definitely shouldn't have been, at least shouldn't have been without a roll cage and more safety equipment. But yeah, so like I said, one of these next few videos coming out will be lifting my dad's Jeep, and here's a little sneak peek for you guys. But yep, I'm gonna cut this one off there, and we will see you guys next time.